and we doesn't know and we couldn't expect when the physically are going to college and when it is going to be opening and what are going to be set all right in a short panel. We couldn't expect all those things. So whatever we have to do, it has to be done on online itself. So that's why attend the classes regularly, follow the subjects, follow through the syllabus, and whatever we have been given with the materials and the assignments and whatever the question papers or the syllabus, whatever that is being posted in your Edmodo group, please follow through. And whatever the activities asked by the faculty to do or to be performed by you, then perfectly do that by time without any due and without any delay. Everybody has to follow that. And those gradings and those performances and those activities will be get into consideration whenever you will be wanted by the university for a grading system. If at all, if there are no exams and if there are no any specific categories. Why? Because last semester has been ended without any examination. But we do have the internals and we do have certain assignments procedures in order to grade you to promote for the next semester. Why? Because even though if you are not having any examination, then those particular gradings regarding the internals and whatever the assignments are helpful for us in order to give you on your marks list. That is, those things will be sent to the university and those will be get printed on your marks list for the next semester to get you promote. And in the similar way, if this semester also continues in the same way, that is the same online sessions and same assignment gradings and your quizzes and all those things, then how we can grade you? Until and unless if you perform well in all the subjects regarding your online Edmodo activities, then only we'll be able to give you the corresponding grades and also to the university. And at the same time, all of you keep in mind and all of you make a note that your attendance will be screening by university by the weekend. That is, a weekly attendance report will be given to the university from the college. Every department is going to consolidating your weekly attendance from class to class, and daily monitoring system is also there. From the daily monitoring procedure or attendance, it is being taken and consolidated for the week, and finally the weekly attendance will be get reported to the JNTU. So please be aware that it is not a monthly attendance, it is not going to be a semester attendance at final, so that you can accommodate it, you can manage it, you can do whatever at the last of the semester. Every week your attendance will be sent to the university. So please be careful while attending the classes and while maintaining the attendance. It couldn't be fall below the 75%, right? And if there are any issues and if there are any problems regarding your attendance of the class or attendance to the class, please be report to your counselors, your class teachers, and if at all, if there is any problem beyond that, please report it to the HOD sir if there is any serious problem, right? So now I'll start the session. Shall we start the session?
Yes, ma'am.
I hope all of you have gone through the
Yes, ma'am.
modulation procedures discussed in the last class. So what we discussed in the last class? What are all the different modulation procedures we have gone through?
Wavelength modulation, frequency modulation, phase angle modulations.
Had I discussed in the last class wavelength modulation? Only 3 modulations are there for us, right? So modulation is nothing but processing of varying a signal called as a carrier signal according to the modifications that are given by a modulating signal. That is nothing but a message signal that we want to send from source to the destination. And that carrier signal will be a particular analog signal itself, and the properties of that particular carrier signal or the analog signal will be modulated or varied according to the properties of the corresponding modulating signal or the message signal that we want to send from source to the destination. And what are these characteristics that are going to be modified in the carrier? any signal or any signal, whether it may be analog or maybe the digital, it is going to have only the three properties. Those are nothing but the amplitude, frequency, and the phase angle. Based on these properties itself, the carrier signal will be get varied and it is going to be changed according to these three properties available on the modulating signal or the message signal. So whatever may be the data stream or the data signal that we want to send from the source will be seen in the form of a wave first. It will be described in the form of the mathematical equation. Already we have seen how a sinusoidal signal, a sinusoidal wave will be represented in an equation, giving you the description of three characteristics, that is the amplitude, frequency, and the phase angle, right? Taking these three characteristics, we will be varying the carrier signal, and so that we are going to naming that particular modulation procedure according to the characteristic that is being modified. So if you are going to modifying amplitude, it will be called as amplitude modulation. And if you are going to change any frequency, then it will be called as the frequency modulation. And if you are going to change the phase angle of the signal, it will be called as the phase modulation. So according to these three properties, we are having the three modulation techniques: amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, and the phase modulation, right? And we have also discussed how the amplitude modulation is going to be varied according to the modulation signal. The carrier will be varied every time. The carrier will be of the taken as a reference of equal amplitude and the equal frequency, and the normal phase angles will be there. And that particular signal will be considered every time. The standard carrier signal will be followed for a modulation technique. And whereas according to the characteristic that is being chosen in the modulating signal, the carrier will be varied. That is, whether you are taking the amplitude as a reference or a frequency as a reference or a phase angle as a reference, it will be changing over, right? So we discussed about the amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, and also before going into the phase modulation, we discussed about the digital modulation. So that the digital modulation is nothing but we are being discussing the modulation technique in terms of the analog signals and the analog parameters, whether it is an amplitude, whether it is a frequency or a phase. We've been considering it as a analog signal and the analog parameters. But nowadays we are being in the way of digital communication. So in the way of digital communication, we should be considering the signals as the digital signals. Analog signals are going to be propagating the analog, analog communication is going to be propagating the analog signals into the air. That is analog electromagnetic signals, whether they are the frequency modulated or the amplitude or the phase signals, phase angle modulated. All those are going to having the analog parameters. But we do have the digital communication now. We do have the digital modulation. Digital signals are being communicating. That is nothing but the signal is going to be communicated only in the terms of the ones and zeros. That is, in the combination of ones and zeros itself, you are communicating the data in data streams. Data in terms of ones and zeros, whether maybe it's a video, it's a audio, or maybe any graphics, and whatever it is, only the text is going to be transmitted. Everything, either your video or audio or text, everything will be get translated in terms of ones and zeros. So that digital communication has came into era, and it has been modulating and going to the advanced stages also. So that for that digital communication, the digital signals has to be modulated in a digital fashion itself. The digital signals has to be modulated in the digital fashions itself, whether it is analog signal analog signal communication, or maybe the digital signal communication. The same problems will be get faced by the signals in the air while they are going to be broadcasting, whether it may be the digital signal or maybe the analog signal. While it is being propagating and radiating in the air, the same problems will be faced by it. That is nothing but the refraction, reflection, and the scattering problems. So whenever we avoid these three problems, then only we can transmit our original signal from the sender to the receiver as it is, without any loss of in its strength. Okay, so that we have to modulate the digital signal also, as we do in the way of analog signal modulation itself, right? So here you are going to do whatever it is, that is the digital signal is going to be varied and it is going to be modulated in terms of ones and zeros. Whether you are modulating the signal by only 2 bits, 1 or 0, or you are going to modulating the signal by the combination of zeros or ones. That is the number of bits that you are taking to represent the values of the digital signal. Then you are going to following the total number of bits. Okay, that much number of bits are being taken into consideration while modulating the signal. So you are going to represent the maximum value of the signal with a 1 or the minimum value of the signal with 0. That is of using only 2 bits or 2-bit representation of the digital modulation. Otherwise, we are also want to see about the other phases or other levels of the digital signals. That is not only the peak amplitude and not only the lower amplitude, you can also see other levels of the amplitude of the digital signal, that is other levels of the digital signal. Then you can go for the other representations, that is 0 0 is going to give the minimum value, or 0 1 for the next stage, 1 0 for the next stage, and 1 1 for the maximum amplitude. In that way, we will be taking multiple number of bits to represent our different levels of the digital signal. In that way also, you are going to performing the digital modulation, taking into consideration that how the signal is being represented either with only 2 bits or in the combination of number of bits. Okay, and digital modulation has been introduced in two forms, that is amplitude shift keying and frequency shift keying. As we referred in the analog signal modulation, here also we are having the digital modulation in terms of amplitude, frequency, and also the phase angle modulation. But here the modulation in terms of the digital modulation, we have been calling it as amplitude shift keying modulation, frequency shift keying modulation. In the similar way, the same thing, that is the amplitude will be represented by ones and zeros, frequency is been represented with ones and zeros, and what we will discuss it here, it is the amplitude is been represented with 0 at lower level and amplitude is been represented with 1 at higher peak amplitude. And coming to the frequency shift key, the Fc minus Fs, that is the corresponding modulating signal frequency will be get subtracted from the maximum signal frequency of the carrier, and it is being get added up with the modulated signal frequency with the carrier frequency to represent 1. To represent 0, it will be get subtracted from the frequency carrier frequency signal, and where it is been added to the carrier frequency while transmitting 1. How it is been representing 0 and 1 here. And coming to the binary shift keying, that is we have seen three types of modulations in the analog modulation procedure. Here we are having the again the three procedures in digital modulation also, whereas we are being calling here as phase shift keying, that is shifted keying modulation. Whether it is an amplitude, whether it is a frequency, or whether it is a phase, we are being calling these modulations as shifted keying modulations. That is amplitude shifted keying, frequency shifted keying, and here the phase modulated shifted keying. Whereas this phase modulated shifted keying is majorly playing a major role in the digital modulation. That's why this PSK is also being called as binary phase shifted keying. Binary phase shifted keying, as it is going to be representing with two values 0 and 1 between 0 and 180 degrees of the phase of the signal. 0 and 180 degrees of the phase of the signal. 0 is been represented with 1 or 0, or 180 degrees is going to be represented with 0 or 1. Whatever it is, the convention depends upon us. So that here we are going to use 2 bits for representing the two phase changes of the waves. So that particular PSK, that is phase modulation or phase shift keying, is also being called as binary phase shift keying. And similarly, to represent other phases or to represent another levels of the phase angles of the wave, we are also going to have the Gaussian minimum phase shifted keying. Gaussian minimum phase shifted keying. That is not only on the positive side, we have to also represent the signal's negative side also. In that case, you are going to follow the Gaussian minimum phase shifted keying. Okay, no problem, A3. We have been identified you, right? So Gaussian minimum phase shifted keying is used for representing the phase modulation on the either side of the signal cycle, right? So this is how the BPSK is going to be represented. It has been shifting the phases with zeros and 1. That is, it has been representing the phases by 0 and 1 in reverse way. And phase modulation is also available in different levels. I already told you that not only with representation of two values, that is where it is being called as binary phase shift keying, we are also having the combination of the two digits in 4 values or the 4 combinations. Then it will be called as the quadrature phase shifted keying. That is combination of these 2 digits in 4 levels, that is 10, 00, 01 and 11. So as you are having the representation of the phase angles in 4 ways, representation of the phase angles in 4 ways, that particular phase shifted keying here it is called as the quadrature phase shift keying. That particular phase shift keying here it is called as the quadrature phase shift keying, as we are having the 4 levels of phase angles. The same phase shift keying can also be extended to 8, 16, 32. In that way, we are having different phase shifted keying also. That is, keenly can represent all the phase angles of the signal until it completes the cycle. We can keenly represent all the phase angles of a wave for a complete cycle of the wave or a complete cycle of the signal. That is, we can represent 8 angles of the signal, we can represent 16 angles of the signal, we can also represent 32 angles of the signals. That is, it is extended up to different bits combinations. That much number of bits are used to represent those number of angles we have. That is QPSK. Here how it has been representing its 4 combinations is nothing but it has been representing 45 degrees, 135 degrees, 225 degrees at the 315 degrees. 315 degrees is representing the peak amplitude. 45 degrees is going to be representing the minimum amplitude, right? So coming to the axis. So how the medium is going to be accessing? That is, I have already given you the multiplexing is one of the procedure that is going to be followed for accommodating multiple number of connections between the communicating points. Okay, so multiplexing is a procedure which is going to follow to accommodate multiple number of connections between the communication points. So there will not be only a single source and the receiver, or the source and the destination, or the sender or the receiver. There will be multiple number of sources. There will be multiple number of senders, receivers. So that there may be a communication procedure, a communication mapping. There may be between one to many, or many to many, or many to one. In this way, they will have the multiple number of connections are going to be varying between the multiple number of communication points. Multiple number of connections are going to be varying between multiple number of communication points. So how that particular connectivity can be varied and how that particular connectivity can be established between those number of multiple communication points and multiple number of connections are being possible. How that could be possible is because of the multiplexing. Because of the multiplexing, we do have the multiple connectivity in between the multiple number of communication points. We do have the multiple connectivity between multiple number of communication points. So that is nothing but the multiplexing. See here, we are having the multiplexing is being called as we'll have the different channels, users, sources sharing a common either the space or the time or the frequency or code for transmitting the data. So how this multiplexing is being proceeded, how this multiplexing is being implemented is nothing but multiplexing is being implemented based on the platform on which you are being accommodating the number of users or the sources. How you are going to accommodating the channels, how you are going to accommodating the users, how you are accommodating the number of sources that they are going to sharing the data among, how the number of channels are being communicating, how the number of users are being communicating, how the number of sources are being shared among different people or the channels or the users. That is how this could be possible. Depending upon the platform on which this particular channels, users or sources are being communicating, that particular multiplexing will be implemented. That is, among the space, whether you are sharing the data or taking the time as a consideration or taking the frequency as a consideration or taking the code through which you are communicating the data. All these 4 are going to be considered into the multiplexing procedure. Whether you are sharing the space, whether you are sharing the time, whether you are sharing the frequency, or whether you are sharing the code that is used to transmit the data. Depending upon that, we are having the multiplexing procedures. We are having the multiplexing procedures. As we entered into the digital communication, as we are entered into the digital communication and the digital modulation, all do we have the corresponding digital paths and digital multiplexing itself. Okay, digital signals are there now. Digital signals are being passing over the media, and that particular digital connections are being established between the different users, and digital codes are being transmitted and exchanged between the senders and the receivers. So based on the platform that we do follow in order to share our data or share our signals, that is whether you are sharing the space or time or frequency or any code of transmitting data, sorry, we are implementing the multiplexing procedures. Here we are calling this particular multiplexing as accessing. Multiplexing as accessing. How you are accessing the corresponding platform. How you are accessing the corresponding platform among the multiple number of users. See what sort of accessing we are having. Space division multiple access, time division multiple access, frequency division multiple access, code division multiple access, code orthogonal frequency division multiple access, and or it can be simply called as orthogonal frequency division multiple access. Orthogonal frequency division multiple access. That is, if you are using the space for transmitting our data, then you are going to following the multiplexing procedure as space division multiple access. Otherwise, if you are sharing the time, that is in a specific time you are sharing the data, then you are calling it as time division multiple access. Otherwise, you are sharing the frequency bands, then it will be called as frequency division multiple access. Otherwise, you are sharing the part of the code to transmit our data, then it is called as code division multiple access. Otherwise, if you are using the code along with the frequency band spectrum, then it is called as code orthogonal frequency division multiple access. So these type of accessing procedures or these type of multiplexing procedures are being used in present day communication to accommodate multiple number of channels, multiple number of sources, multiple number of users to communicate with each other in different fashions. It may be one to many or many to many, many to one, and whatever it is. They are going to communicating with each other using multiple number of channels, using multiple number of sources. They are sharing their data, taking as one of the bases, either the space, time, frequency, or code, right? So we do have the multiplexing procedures in 5 categories: space division multiplexing, time division multiplexing, frequency division multiple access or multiplexing, or code division or code orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. We will see in detail what are these. Okay, we are not going to see in depth of this, that is what they are going to do and what they are implementing, how technically they are going to be designing, and all these things we are not going to see. And to end with the mobile communication part, just by seeing all these details of multiple accessing and 3G, 2G standards and all those things, we are ending mobile communication, then you'll enter into the mobile computing procedure, right? So what is this? SDMA, that is space division multiple access. Space division multiple access. What happens in this space division multiple access is nothing but a division of available space. A division of available space. So multiple sources are going to accessing the same medium. That is nothing but whether you are using air or whether using a frequency, whether you are using a time or whatever it is, you are using the space and you are dividing among the multiple sources. We are using the same space or accessing medium and you are going to divide among the multiple sources. So what happens here? Wireless transmitter transmits the modulated signals and accesses a slot in space, and another transmitter accesses the another slot. That is, the space is going to be divided into the different slots. The space is going to be divided into the different slots. Wherever a wireless transmitter or antenna is going to be transmitting the modulated signal over it, then it is going to be sent over a specified slot of space. Then the particular signal is being sent over a specified slot of space. In that space itself, our transmitted modulated signal will be traveling through the air. And another transmitter is also going to be transmitting the signal of it, and it is going to be transmitted over another slot of space. These two spaces are not going to be affecting with each other while transmitting their own individual signals. Two space slots are there, and those two space slots are being introduced with their modulating signals. They are going to carrying the modulating signals transmitted by their own transmitters sent by the sources. they has to reach that particular destinations or the receiving points. At that receiving point, again the wireless receiver is going to be receiving the signals from their particular time slot space, or sorry, from their space of the slot, and there they are going to be dumping into the receiver side mobile communication point or the communication point. So I'm clear. I think I am clear that space division multiplexing is going to be using the space divided into the different slots, and all the transmitters are going to be transmitting their modulating signals into their corresponding slot of spaces. Here the space is going to be carrying your signal. In that way, you are multiplexing or dividing the available space into the multiple slots to transmit multiple number of signals in a single frame of time. Right? So that is about the SDMA. And coming to the TDMA, that this is nothing but time division multiple access. That is, available time is going to be sliced for transmission, for the transmission of multiple signals. Available time is going to be sliced to transfer the transmission of multiple signals. That is nothing but the time division multiple access. So what happens in this, we will be having the multiple users, different types of data services and sources allocated with different time slices in the same channel. Here, the channel will be used of the same, in the same space, but in the same frequency, but times are going to be followed in different way. Times are going to be followed in different way. Whereas in the SDMA, the space is going to be differentiated. It will be slotted and sliced among different channels and different signals. Whereas here, the same channel will be used, same frequency spectrum will be used, whereas the signals will be allocated, or the sources or the users will be allocated different time bands or the time intervals. In that particular time interval, that particular user is going to be sending the signal through that particular channel. In another time interval, another user is going to be sending the signal over that particular channel, right? So the available time space or the time interval is going to be sliced among different modulated signal sources, right? That is about the TDMA, time division multiple access. See, here it is, we have given with the GSM and TDM. We'll come back to this particular diagram again after completing the CDMA also, right? We're moving to the FDMA. This is nothing but the frequency division multiple access. Frequency division multiple access. Here, the same channel is going to be followed and the time slices will be the same, whereas the frequency ranges or the frequency bands or the frequency spectrums will be of different. That is, each and every modulated signal will be given with each frequency band. In that particular frequency band itself, the signal has to be transmitted from source to the destination. The neighboring frequency band is going to be followed with some other signal to transmit it. These two frequency bands are not going to be interfere with each other while transmitting these two signals. That is, a band of spectrum will be taken among which a range of frequencies will be sliced among, and among those range of frequency bands, the signals will be sent over. The signals will be sent over. That is, the same frequency band is used to send multiple number of signals using multiple frequency ranges, but at the same time using the same space. Space will be same and the time interval will be same, whereas their frequencies are going to be varied to accommodate multiple number of communication channels or the communication lines. That is, frequencies are being varied among number of communication channels neighboring with each other in the same space on the same interval of time. That is about the frequency division multiple accessing. That is nothing but the frequency division multiple accessing. And coming to the CDMA, that is nothing but code division multiple accessing. Code division multiple accessing. Here, different codes will be followed by the different sources for the transmission of the signals. Different codes will be followed for transmission of the different signals for transmitting their data. All the sources will not follow either the frequencies. I mean, the frequency band will be similar, time interval will be similar, and the space is also similar. But here, to send their data from source to the destination, different coding procedure will be followed. For example, if our channel is having the 10 sources or the 10 sources to send over the data, all these 10 sources of senders will have the different codes of transmission. Each and every different source is going to follow different code for transmission of the data in the single space, that is in the same space at a same frequency in the same interval of time. They will be following the same space, same frequency and the same time, but the code of transmission will be different, right? Multiple users are allocated with the different codes and accessing the same channel and the same frequency, so that as you are going to using the codes, obviously will come into the versions of ones and zeros. We'll be having the multiple combinations using these ones and zeros combinations. That is, we may take 2 bits, we may take 3 bits depending upon the number of sources. For example, if you are having only the 4 sources to transmit the data, then you are going to use the only 0 and 1. Then you'll have the 4 combinations to send the data over the same space. But if you are having the 8 sources to transmit, then you are going to take the 3 bits of combinations for allotting the codes for 8 sources to send over the data on the same space on the same channel, right? So this is how the frequencies, the corresponding OFD, the frequencies are being allocated with the chipping frequency. The frequencies are being allocated with ones and zeros here. The ones will be coded like this, zeros will be coded like this, their amplitude will be sent over the corresponding channel, right? The combination of the things will be taken to send the data, whatever may be the sources. So the frequencies that we have been coded with the values are here, they will be called as chipping frequencies. The chipping frequencies are being coded with the corresponding bits, and these frequencies are called as chipping frequencies, and the scheme whenever followed with this particular chipping frequency to code our data, then it is called as direct sequence spread spectrum. Direct sequence spread spectrum, and those are called as hopping frequencies and FHS. If it is a frequency mode of transmission and you are going to sending the frequencies in FHS, that is frequency hopping sequence spread spectrum. If it is being coded using our chipping frequencies, then it is called as direct sequence spread spectrum. That is, in frequency spectrum, the frequencies are being sent in this way. That is, in FHSS, the frequencies are being sent in this manner. But in this DSS, that is in CDMA, DSSS is going to be sending the data by coding the frequencies in that way. That is, higher frequencies, higher amplitudes are being represented with lower amplitude are being represented with 0, right? And finally, the OFDMA. Finally, the OFDMA, that is nothing but orthogonal frequency division multiplexing accessing. That is orthogonal frequency division multiple access. What happens here? What happens here when compared to the other? What you are having, space division multiplexes is having, we are having, that is, we are dividing the space into multiple slots. And time division multiplexing is we are having, that is, available time is being sliced among number of sources. And frequency division multiplexing is that available frequency band of spectrum is divided into different sets of frequencies, right? And CDMA is there with us, that is code division multiple access, within which we are having the number of users. Depending upon the number of users, we are being choosing the number of bits, and those number of bits are being allocated with different codes, and those codes will be allocated to the corresponding number of sources. That is, each and every source of transmitting signal will be allocated with a particular code. That is nothing but the code division multiple access. And another last one is what we are having is orthogonal frequency division multiple access. What happens here? This method will be having multiple carrier, multi-tone transmitting for a set of symbols. For a set of symbols, we will be having the multiple carriers. Not a single carrier will be there. There will be multiple carriers. In the modulation procedure, as we discussed in the yesterday class, we are having a single carrier and a single modulating signal. This particular carrier signal will be varied according to the properties of the modulating signal, what we discussed in yesterday class. But here, coming to the OFDMA, it is of different case. What happens here? Here, not only a single carrier, we will be having the multiple carriers and multi-tone transmitting. That is, a set of symbols representing the tones, we are transmitting over the multiple carriers. So multiple users, multiple data sources, and they will be allocated with different frequency bands to access the same space, time slice, and with distinct codes which are orthogonal to each other, That particular orthogonalization, that is orthogonal property, will be brought into this particular accessing procedure by using the multi-carrier system. That is, the different frequency slices will be used, different users are being there, different data sources will be there in the same space and the same slice, whereas distinct codes will be given for multi-carrier system, which is sending our multi-tones to represent set of symbols to transmit from the source to the destination. That is, we are having the multiple sources and we are having the multiple destinations. These multiple sources has to send different symbols, okay, using multiple carriers to the different destinations, so that you are using the multiple carriers to carry these symbols, that is multi-tone symbols, to transmit over the single space in the same interval of time. Okay, so as we are using the multiple carriers, this particular procedure or multiple access procedure is called as orthogonal frequency division multiple access. Frequency is being sliced and carriers are being in multiple number. These carriers are going to travel in multiple frequency slices, carrying multiple symbols from multiple sources to the multiple destinations. So this is what happens in the OFDMA, right? In the previous class, we discussed about the modulation techniques, which are in three categories, whether it is analog modulation or the digital modulation. And now in this class, we discussed about the multiplexing procedure, where we can accommodate multiple number of users in the single space, single time, and single frequency band of spectrum. And in the single frequency slices, we can going for the multiple carriers. That is, 5 categories of the multiplexing procedures are there to accommodate our multiple channels, multiple users, multiple signals to transmit from multiple sources to the multiple destinations, right? This is about the corresponding accessing procedures. Next, in the next class, we'll be going for the standards of communication, that is 2G standard and 3G standard and all those things. Okay, that is, already you are aware about the 2G, 3G generations and what happens in this generations, what they are meant actually, what they are meant for introduction, and how they have been enhanced with different services. Thereafter, what we are with the advanced versions of the communication now, and how you are going to following these standards, what are their speed of transmission, frequency of transmission, and all those things we'll see in the next class. So please go through this multiplexing procedure, how is going to be accessing the multiple channels in terms of frequency, in terms of space, in terms of time, and also in terms of different code of transmission, right? So go through this, and I am stressing on this particular modulation and the accessing procedures because I'm taking much of time. Why? Because it can be completed. Only the mobile communication is only the small part of your syllabus, but I am concentrating more on this mobile communication standards. Why? Because these are the fundamentals we have to keep in mind while working with the mobile computing paradigm. Why? Because you are also having the lab session for this subject. That is, mobile computing is also having the lab session for you. You have to program the applications which is working in the Java environment and also the Android system. But whenever we want to design this, we have to keep aware that what sort of frequency that we have to design for, what sort of codes we have to follow to work out that particular applications. You have to develop the mobile applications. So in order to develop the mobile applications, you have to have a complete idea regarding the hardware and also the software. So as you are not aware of this electronic components regarding the communication standards and all those things, I am concentrating on this particular modulation techniques and also the accessing methods. So once you are go in depth and you are completely aware of these techniques, then you are simply go over the guidelines of the mobile computing paradigm. So it will be easy for you to learn the future concepts. So I'm concentrating, don't be get irritated regarding why I'm concentrating on this modulation techniques, why I'm going in depth of this particular accessing methods and the multiple accessing. I'm stretching. I know that I am stretching over all these topics as it is very favorable and will be helpful for you in the future coming concepts. So that's why I'm stressing over. So please follow these concepts and refer through these modulation techniques and all those things, right? I'm coming to now, and 5 more minutes for us. Is there any doubt and is there any problem regarding your connectivity to the online classes for my class especially, and joining in Edmodo group and attempting your quiz? And if any topics are there for to discuss, any doubts are there, please ask your questions now. Are you clear about the topics until now we discussed?
Yes, ma'am.
Regarding the communication fundamentals, transmission media, networks. Okay. We have discussed about the transmission media, discussed about the modulation, we discussed about the frequencies of the signals and propagation properties. If you are having any doubt, we can go through that. We'll discuss. All are unmuted, I think, right? No problem, you can ask. Otherwise, if there is any problem, if you can't ask in this openly, you can contact me personally. But do follow the performances and activities that you have to perform. You are not in physical contact with every faculty. It's not possible to monitor you, nearly you. So that please follow the things and the instructions given by your staff. And you will be closely monitored by HOD sir each and every time what you are doing from the counselors and from the class teachers. And your activity has to be considered and your activity has to be straightly monitored for your grading system. I already told you at the starting of the class. And your attendance is being daily monitored and consolidated at end of the week, and it will be sent to the university by week to week. So please be regular to the classes and don't do any mischievous things in your classes while the class is going on. If there is any problem, please be disconnected from the class and inform to your class teacher at that particular class, and or inform to your counselor or the class teacher regarding your problem. But don't create any disturbances and don't create any panic in the class while the class is going on. And be registered with your registered numbers and don't do duplicate your registering, and don't do any mischievous things, and please be cautious while the class is going on, and perform your activities whatever the staff asked you to do while the online classes are going on, while the semester is going on. Why? Because you will be graded along with your performance activities, and those activities will be get reported to the HOD from time to time, and the same will be reflected to the principal sir, and the same will be reflected to the university also. So please keep in mind. Why? Because to get back and to go back and to remodify and to change your marks and change your intention and change your attendance, all these things are not possible at this time of instant. Okay, so because of this pandemic, everything will be running over digital, and everything will be digital as usual, as you think, and nothing will be there to contact you repeatedly and to patiently come back on your words. That is calling you, requesting you, and to do requesting you continuously to do the things whatever the staff asks you to do. Right? So don't stress on your counselors and don't make a problem for your counselors, and don't make a problem for your class teachers and all those things. Please do perform the activities. See, if there are any doubts, please come on. Otherwise, we will be ending the session now. Please go through the notes every time in your Edmodo, right? And I'll track the numbers today, whoever been completed your quiz. And I'll ask the explanation who have not been joined the Edmodos and who have not completed the quiz today, right? I'll tracking the numbers now. And quiz is already being closed. If at all, if there is any problem, please be contacting personal. I'll open the quiz for them so that they can complete the quiz. So time is being completed. Now I'm ending the session. Please come with the doubts. If any arised, go through the topic. Tomorrow we'll discuss the doubts and go with the next standards of communication, right? I'm ending the session. Get ready for the next session. Okay, is it okay for you? I'm leaving now. Get ready for the next one. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.